For folks time, we're going to get started. Welcome to the Ohio Children's Trust Fund's April Child Abuse Prevention Month webinar. My name is Nicole Silliman, and I am the Executive Director for the Ohio Children's Trust Fund. I'm excited to be here with you all and would like to express my appreciation that you have taken the time to join us today. I want to remind everyone that we will be hosting weekly presentations each Wednesday in April at 11 a.m., highlighting various programs throughout the month. If you are interested in joining these presentations, please visit our website at octf.ohio.gov, and the link will also be provided in the chat. Today is also Wear Blue Day for the Public Children's Services Association of Ohio. We encourage you to take a selfie of yourself or your team, and hopefully you're all donning your blue, and be sure to tag OCTF on your social media posts using the hashtag OhioWearsBlue. Before we start today's presentation, I also want to review some housekeeping items. We kindly ask that you remain muted throughout the presentation. We will have time towards the end for questions, so please feel free to enter those in the chat. If it is a question we cannot address at this time, we will follow up after today's webinar. Also, this presentation will be recorded and uploaded onto our website for those who could not attend today. If you need a certificate of attendance, please indicate so via the chat with your full name and email address where the certificate should be sent. Please allow us a week or two to send these out depending on the number of requests we receive. I would now like to introduce our presenters from our Family Success Network in Cuyahoga County who work at Westside Catholic Center. Presenting today is their program manager, Miriam, and family coaches, Dana, Marie, and Adrian. We are excited to have our presenters with us today, sharing their knowledge about the work they are doing in Cuyahoga County to better serve our families. So with that, I will now turn it over to Miriam to begin. Thank you all.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thanks so much for inviting us, Ohio Children's Trust Fund. We are so happy to be here with you all. And thank you so much to the Trust Fund for all that you're doing in the prevention space. We believe prevention works, and we are really excited to be able to talk about what we've been able to do here at Westside Catholic Center. Next slide, please. Our hope today is that you will learn a little bit more about Westside Catholic Center and what we offer here, as well as Family Success Network, as well as the family coach role and how it impacts our community. We also want to leave you with some tips to consider when building rapport with your families. Next slide, please. So we're here housed at Westside Catholic Center. Westside Catholic Center's motto is grounded in faith, hope, love, and respect for those we serve. The Westside Catholic Center assists all who come in need of food, clothing, shelter, advocacy, and a path to self-sufficiency. On our campus in the heart of Ohio City, right here in Cleveland, we have a homeless shelter, a workforce development program, a resource center where people can come to get meals, clothing, and other needs met. Every day, dedicated staff and volunteers lead with hospitality in mind as we serve our community. And this has been going on for almost 50 years. Westside Catholic Center is a really special place and has set the tone for how we serve our families within FSN as well. FSN Cuyahoga is very fortunate to be housed here at Westside Catholic Center. And the graphic on this screen is just a glimpse of all the work that Westside Catholic was able to do in 2024. We've impacted thousands of people. We're so proud of the work that we do here. And if you would like more information, please snap that QR code. There will also be a link in the chat. Please come and join us and see what we're doing over here. Next slide, please. Family Success Network is a child abuse prevention parent support model program created and funded by Ohio Children's Trust Fund. We are in 12 counties and hope to be in all 88 counties, so we only have 76 counties to go. Our pilot site, the Help Network of Northeast Ohio, navigated the development and implementation of FSN And then each expansion site, which Cuyahoga is one of the expansion sites, with the help of our implementation teams, personalized FSN to serve our respective counties. I'm mentioning the implementation teams because it is a group of professionals that have been involved with child welfare, prevention, and many other entities, whether it be mental health or hospital systems. Many minds came together to make sure that our implementation and rollout was specific to Cuyahoga County. And I must say we did a pretty good job. I'm biased though. So FSN Cuyahoga began its planning phase in late 2022 and moved to implementation and serving families in July of 23. All sites are doing amazing work in their counties. I believe I saw a few other coaches on here from other counties. The 7 sites listed above can be found on on Ohio Children's Trust Fund website, and a link will be in the chat. If you are in one of those counties, please reach out. Again, amazing work in all of the counties. So FSN, and you'll hear me say FSN, it just stands for Family Success Network. But FSN offers free family support services, including connection to community resources, parenting tips, budgeting and money management, and financial assistance when needed. Referrals come from community entities like Children and Family Services, school districts, hospital systems, etc. Pretty much anywhere you can think of, we receive referrals from. And also families can also self-refer as well. How we interact with families is intentional from our first contact. As a program manager, I complete all of our intakes, and it's important for all of us from the beginning to affirm and uplift. And this is done in many ways. Just as an example, if I have a parent who has missed some intake appointments, when they finally talk to me, good job keeping your appointment, okay? Or say if we're talking to a family and they have secured many services for their special needs child, great job advocating for your child. And that's what we mean by being intentional from the beginning and affirming and uplift. The majority of our referrals come from family and friends of our current and previous clients. Once enrolled, families choose what they would like to work on. We are trained in the areas listed above, and I'll go into it more detail in the next slide. Next slide, please. So Money 101 is our financial literacy course. Families can learn about budgeting, credit use, and other topics that's within the 4-module program. Some of our families' financial goal is to save $5 a month. Others are preparing for home ownership, so you can see how that runs the gamut on what our families may need. Triple P is our parenting program. Triple P does not tell parents how to be a parent, but offers clear and simple ideas on how to manage problem behaviors and prevent problems from developing. We are trained in Triple P Standard, as well as Triple P Fearless. And Triple P Fearless is geared towards parents and caregivers of school-aged children experiencing anxiety. The STARS Training Academy is the transition to independence process. We call it TIP, and you'll hear us mention TIP. It's the TIP model. TIP centers on helping youth and young adults with decision-making and navigating through emotional and behavioral difficulties. We use this training with most of our families, regardless of age. Next slide, please. So let's talk about it. Parenting. Okay. What's the first word that comes to your mind when you think about parenting? Parenting is, if you can put it in the chat, the very first word that comes to your mind. No explicitives, just a word. Okay, I'm seeing hard, challenging, okay, overwhelming, exhausting, humbling. Tell me about it. Okay. Thank you so much for adding those. Keep them coming, okay? These are all true, and we could probably spend the rest of the afternoon describing what parenting is like. And we'll probably come back to that constant learning, a joy, very true. I'm a parent of young adults, so this is through different stages. I'm sure that it feels differently, but this is great. Thank you so much. So we'll let the next person tell us about parenting and we'll come back to it.
A is for
Absolutely not.
B is for
Brush your teeth.
C is for
Careful.
D is for
Do I look like a maid?
E is for
Eat your vegetables.
F is for
5 more minutes.
G is for
Get your shoes on.
H is for
How many times do I have to say it?
I is for
If you don't stop that, I am turning this car around.
J is for
Just one bite.
K is for
Keep your hands to yourself.
L is for
Look at this mess.
M is for
Money doesn't just grow on trees.
N is for
No.
O is for
One more time and you are in trouble.
P is for
Pick up your toys.
Q is for
Quiet.
R is for
Really?
S is for
Stop hitting your brother.
T is for
Turn off the TV.
U is for
Use your inside voice.
V is for
Vegetables in your mouth now.
W is for
What did I just say?
X is for
X-ray. He broke something again?
Y is for
You have got to be kidding me.
Z is for
0 patience left.
A is for
So yes, parenting is hard. It's also wonderful and fun, and the other thoughts mentioned in the chat. But there are so many variables, challenges, time we are just beside ourselves and don't know what to do, right? This dad probably needs to chill a bit, but we get it. Let's take a moment and think about our support systems. Do you have one, or did you have one? Was it supportive and healthy? Did you feel judged? Think about how they've helped you or are currently helping you. I hope that it fills you with warmth. But shout out to our support systems. I know mine got me through many, many, many things, and I appreciate them to this day. So think about if you don't have trusted people in your village. How might you navigate parenting questions or challenges and triumphs? Oftentimes, our families that we serve lack positive relationships in their lives. So interfamily coaching. Next slide, please. So I want you to keep this in mind as the coaches begin to speak to us about their experiences. But Family Coaches is a cornerstone of FSN and how we deliver services to our families. What you see on the screen are just some of the words that come to mind when thinking of what FSN coaches offer our families daily. You would get a glimpse of this valuable work as 3 family coaches from FSN Cuyahoga County speak to us about their experiences helping families. We will start off with Dana, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana. I'm a family coach here, FSN Cuyahoga County. And to me, gaining rapport with my clients is one of the most important parts of my job. When I first meet them, I try to be as down to earth as possible to make them feel comfortable enough to talk to me. Then letting them talk as much as they want, letting them know that I am an ear for them, while asking questions, allowing them the opportunity to say as much as they want. And I share things about myself as well. I especially do this when I'm facilitating the Money One-on-One program. I share my successes and my failures in budgeting my own money. For one, I love the casinos, and that in itself can be a failure. But I also share how I was able to save over $700 over a 2-year period by just throwing loose change in a piggy bank. So many times I meet a client for the first time, I ask them about their children, and they tell me, oh, everything is great and everything is going good. But after a while working with them, once they feel comfortable with me, it comes out that the parents may have major concerns about the child's behavior, and they could really benefit from our Triple P program. I started working with one client, and when I asked about her children, how her children was doing, she would always tell me they were good. How her oldest child was on his way to college, and how the youngest one, the younger one, was doing real good in school as well. And how her youngest baby father was paying her rent of $1,800 because she was only working part-time, which was all true. But after working with her for a while, she began to open up to me about the domestic violence that she was experiencing and how she wanted to get out of her current situation. I suggested to her going to a DV shelter, pressing charges, getting a protection order, and even getting some family counseling. But every time I mentioned it, she would make an excuse why she couldn't, mainly being that she was only working part-time and couldn't afford the rent. So we eventually created a safety plan of things for her to do to keep her and her children safe. After a while, we got connected with a landlord who, ironically, whose daughter was experiencing some domestic violence as well. And he allowed her to stay in one of his homes rent-free until she got on her feet. She's now working full-time with benefits, living in a home where she and her girls are very comfortable and feel safe.
Thank you so much, Dana. And I'll talk about each of these after our final coach. Marie, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marie Tables, and I'm a family coach here out of Cuyahoga County. Today, I wanted to talk to you about how I build a rapport with my families. I asked them, how did you hear about our services? What are your concerns or needs with your family? How can I assist you in achieving your goals? Reminded them that this program is only family-led, so I'm here to work and support your family. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a family that was, today I wanted to talk to you about a kinship family that I'm working with now. She's raising her two nieces, ages 5 and 7. At my first visit, she explained to me that her nieces how they came to her in her care. She stated that her sister was arrested on a warrant at her home, and her sister boyfriend just basically dropped the children off once she was placed into custody. She then went on to say that she contacted 696 Kids and that she assumed that they would support her since the kids were left in her care. But soon she found out that they were limited to their supports because they didn't come through their system. But they did provide her with referrals and resources to different agencies. She also talked about how she didn't have beds for these children and that they were sleeping on her couch, that she didn't have any resources as far as financial or medical for these children at the time, and that she had some food insecurities because additional mouths to feed. So we began to talk about what I could do for her. So I talked to her about the first session of Money 101 and what that looked like and how she could access the $500 in concrete supports. And that will at least allow her to provide additional food for her family. I referred her to the Christ Child program, which provided the children not only with beds, but linens and blankets as well. I referred the family to the Family Resilience Fund, which allows her to access kinship families with rental assistance, utility payments, and food assistance. Then we started to work on her goals, which meant she needed to contact and petition the courts and filing for custody. Then she needed to contact the prison social worker, because by this time, mom had been sentenced and now is in prison. Then she told me about dad. He's also incarcerated. So then we started to advocate for her to apply for TANF benefits for these children. Through my engagement with the family and assisting her and offering resources, and most of all, her accomplishing her goal. Now she has received full custody of these children and is receiving TANF benefits. The children have started to start a counseling, and now they're expressing and understanding the things that are happening in their lives. Most of the time we can plan a visit and when we reach the family's home and they open the door, there's different problems and concerns that needs to be resolved. An instance, I have a mom of 3 that I'm working with, and at the point we were doing money one-on-one when her phone rings, and it's the doctor's office, and they're asking her to come in for additional testing for a mammogram. At that point, she had no plan on going for the testing, and because she has no family history of breast cancer, she didn't feel she needed to have any concerns. Oh, and she's only 40, as she told me. At that point, I started to use some of my tools. And I asked her, you don't have to have family history. And guess what? You can be the first. So we started to go through the pros and cons and talking about who her support systems were. Needless to say, I convinced mom to go to that appointment and also keep it. Eventually, she was diagnosed with cancer. Now she's being treated for it. Through building these relationships, not only listening and not being judgmental, families start to open up and let us in without hesitation. Through this program, it has allowed me to work with my families and meeting them where they are and providing education and resources. I always like to use this when I'm meeting a new family. A closed mouth don't get fed, meaning if you don't express what type of service and resources you need for your family, then I will be doing a disservice for you because I can't tell you what you need. I find this to be an icebreaker because most families always say that again, or that makes sense. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you today in the work that I do every day.
Thank you so much, Marie. Adrienne?
Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. I'm Adrienne Thomas. I'm family coach here at Cuyahoga County. And as my fellow coaches have mentioned, building rapport is crucial when working with families. Establishing a trustworthy relationship with clients allows me as a family coach to understand the resources I can provide for a family. My approach with families is straightforward. I avoid making promises I cannot keep and focus on over-delivering on what I can control in terms of deliverables. I am open, honest, and I assure them that if I don't know something, I will make every effort to find someone who does. I also stress the importance of accountability in setting and achieving goals. Thanks to the rapport I have developed with one of my clients, I was able to connect deeply with one who was a single mother of 3, who also has a goddaughter who recently became a mother herself, living with her as well. And during my visit, my client shared with me that she had just gone through a miscarriage a few days earlier. She recounted the trauma of seeking help at the hospital, only to be sent home to miscarry, receiving cold and unsympathetic treatment. Horrified by her experience, we discussed the need to seek mental health support and steps to address the lack of empathy and care she had received. I guided her to resources like patient advocacy services and the ombudsman's office, And at our next meeting, I brought her a self-care package, which she greatly appreciated. I believe it's the small acts of kindness that clients value most, which is evident in our wait list growth without formal marketing efforts. Even with thorough planning, each client encounter brings surprises and adjustments based on their individual needs. Sessions sometimes evolve into therapeutic discussions, positioning me as a listening and supportive presence for clients. And not every client responds equally to motivation. A particular challenge I faced involved a father of 2 children who was unemployed and responsible for childcare while his partner worked. Despite efforts to provide him with resources and encouragement, including job leads, workforce development programs, assistance with rental utility payments, and GED prep, progress seemed stagnant, which became very frustrating for me as a family coach, especially when you're doing all the research you can in order to help your families. It doesn't always go the way you intend. But however, after months of persistence, he disclosed that he had finally taken the GED prep test and had enrolled in classes, marking a breakthrough in his journey. A case like this one is special to me because it lets me know that even when you think you're not making progress, boom, something clicks with your family and you were actually heard and progress was actually made. Through my connections with my clients, I'm able to build a rapport with them where they're able to divulge all sorts of information. Sometimes I go in there with a whole plan and it turns into something totally different. We're also, like as I mentioned, we're often a listening ear, and it turns into something much deeper, and you build a deeper connection with your clients. Sometimes I have a hard time closing out my clients because they don't want to disconnect from me, which I think is a testament to the work that I've done with them, but it also makes me smile because I feel like I've made a difference in someone's life. So in conclusion, building a rapport and trust with families is at the heart of everything we do. Each family is unique, and their journeys require us to be flexible, compassionate, and unwavering in our support. Whether it's offering resources, providing a listening ear, or simply showing kindness in moments of hardship, our role is to walk alongside them, always with the goal of helping them achieve progress for themselves and their family. It's not just about the programs or services we offer, it's about the relationships we build and the trust we earn. Thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to share with you my job because I love what I do. Thank you.
So, next slide, please. But shout out to Family Success Network coaches. I see a couple other coaches on the call from other sites, and they would say similar stories, if not more. We can fill up the whole afternoon with some of the things that we've been able to do with our families and what we've witnessed as program managers. I've been amazed and blown away. But I want to bring your attention to some of these words that's on this screen, and we'll relate them to some of the coaches' stories. So non-judgmental support, I'm thinking of Dana's story. So with the mom who is experiencing domestic violence, I'm also thinking of how there was no systems involved at that point. There was no police involvement. There was no children and family services involvement. But because Dana approached the situation, just come talk to me, this mother eventually divulged this information. And from there, Dana was able to refer her to the domestic violence shelter because our area domestic violence service is the Journey Center. They have a 24-hour hotline. So even if the mom didn't go that route and safety plan with Dana instead, she now has that information. And this was all before systems were involved, okay? I'm also thinking of Marie's case, and really there she offered system navigation with a kinship caregiver, and that referral actually came from Ohio Can. With system navigation, it's simple sometimes for us in this profession because we know how things work. We know who's eligible, who's not eligible, all the things, or at least most of the times we know. But it can be very challenging and very scary for some families to navigate these systems. And so with Marie's support and help, this kinship caregiver or kin caregiver was able to navigate these systems to provide permanency for these children. And that particular family has gone through several incarcerations. So this had been going on for several years. And all this time, the children were in limbo. So that really was huge. A child having their own bed is huge. Every little thing that our coaches have done in the life of a family is huge. And also with Adrian, when I think about the mother who experienced that mental health, that medical emergency, and involving the ombudsman, involving the patient advocacy, how much she's not only modeling advocacy, but helping the mom learn how to advocate for herself in these, again, systems. It's really, really, I can't speak enough about the work that our coaches do. I am beyond pleased with what they've done. And each case is treated, we take each case as it comes, because like my coaches said, things come up all the time. So we come together, we try to figure out game plans on how we can address these things. But I also want to bring to your attention, can you see how like the proximity and the closeness of the coach to the family, along with the coach's knowledge, can bridge a gap for a family? That's really important. Through home visiting, being present, active listening, taking a position of non-judgmental support, and the other words on the screen, we see what can happen. Did you notice how some of the stories were like seemingly small changes? The dad that Adrian spoke about, we pretty much had a GED party once we found out that that's what he decided to do, because it had been a long process and Adrian never stopped encouraging this particular father. So, and even incremental changes change. And so can you see how the intervention can help families achieve stability? So that dad who's going towards GED, maybe jobs, maybe these things, okay? And how that can help achieve stability for a family, how it can help them gain skills and avoid system and crises, like I said before. Strengthening families' principles are embedded in all parts of FSN. And I also must mention that child safety is always paramount for all of us. We are mandated reporters, of course, but even if we weren't mandated reporters, we're still morally obligated to pay attention to the safety and well-being of our children. It is all of our responsibility, and I'm sure everyone on this call knows that. And so just a big thank you for knowing that prevention and child safety is all of our responsibilities. If there's any questions about coaching, please put it in the chat. Next slide, please. So we just want to leave you with some tips to consider as you're thinking about rapport building and relationship building. So these are what I choose to kind of focus in on as I'm coaching my coaches. So number one is release the outcome. I put little seeds in that picture because sometimes we really have to be okay with planting the seed that plants the seed that plants the seed. The fruit is really for the family. If we release the outcome and just focus on one interaction at a time, we shift to filling the cup of our parent with tools, resources, and different ways of looking at challenges. We love to see the change, especially when we're dreaming for our family. We see it as plain as day, oh, you can fly, okay? And I know that as helpers, we need that sometime to see the change in our families because it helps us keep on going. I think we all know that. It helps us too. But really, the fruit is for the family. If it's really, really hard for you to kind of release the outcome, Try to think of the fruit salad that your family can eventually make with all the seeds that you're helping them plant today. Okay, so fruit salad. Okay, next slide, please. So a loving mirror. So by holding up a loving mirror to our parents and caregivers, we can address unpleasant, difficult things. Helping families look at their own situation and think about their own thoughts and feelings about it can lead to change that is internally motivated. Can a person really need a job? Sure. Are there sometimes many steps and barriers that can get in the way of achieving this? Yes. So by inviting parents and caregivers to examine how or if their current behavior is in alignment with what they have expressed as a need for for them and their families can be a really awesome tool for change. We don't need to take people to the mat to have open and honest conversations. Being trained in the TIP model has helped our coaches with this concept a great deal. Next slide, please. Ooh, be curious. Okay, be curious and peel that onion. You see those little onion skins there. By being curious or peeling the onion and holding a loving mirror up are pretty closely related, but peeling the onion is about getting to root causes. Those delicate layers take time to work through. When we are curious, we can ask questions with care without sounding like a detective. A curious mindset helps us avoid judgment and understand that we don't have a complete picture, just a human being in front of us with behavioral patterns that we see. Oftentimes we don't know why, and most times it's not any of our business. How many of us are walking our own walk with our own stuff that we need to work through? Next slide, please. Self-work. So self-work is vital to understanding ourselves. Learning how our own bias or our icks, as my picture says, the ultimate list of icks, can affect how we interact with our families. Understanding this is deeply important to the work that we do. Self-awareness helps us hold space for ourselves and understand our own limitations and capacity. It can also inform case assignment or supervision as well. You know, again, we have our own stuff, and that's okay, as long as we don't let it spill onto our families. Next slide, please. Self-care. I told my team that I'm not going to get on a soapbox about this, but I'll do my best. Okay. Self-care. Working with families while they are going through some heavy things can be extremely stressful. Family coaches, case management is highly skilled work that requires so much of ourselves. Hearing the stories of parents and caregivers can be very difficult and affect our capacity. So how are we taking care of ourselves? What's one thing that we're going to do today to take care of ourselves? If you feel comfortable, put it in the chat what you plan to do. I plan on going swimming today because that is where I let it all go. Self-care is extremely important. If there are any supervisors here, how are we supporting our teams in this? Oftentimes we have brand new professionals, recent graduates coming into our field that are not aware of the need for self-care. Learning how to manage our gift of empathy is vital. I'm gonna say that one more time because I think that's really important. Learning how to manage our gift of empathy is vital. How are we helping our teams manage their own gift because they have the gift of empathy? That's an important skill to learn. So here at Westside Catholic Center and my team, what we do is we take temperature checks at every team meeting, every supervision, temperature checks. How's everyone feeling? How are we feeling about our cases? Do we need to work on some things? So on and so forth. We also debrief if needed. Some of our cases, as you've heard, can be extremely heavy. And so there is a need to debrief. We take our PTO and we also have PTO dance parties when we do take PTO because it's very important that we take care of ourselves. I am of the sincere belief that helpers do not need to burn out in order to help others. So off my soapbox. Okay, next slide, please. So just to give you all a snapshot of what we've been able to do since beginning servicing families in July of 23, is we have over 420, we've received over 420 referrals so far. And they're from everyone, like I mentioned before, Children and Family Services, school districts, hospital systems, as well as family and friends and mental health entities. Everywhere you can think of, we receive referrals from. It says 190, but we're at about 200 now, families that are either currently receiving services or have received services with a family coach. This includes over, at this point, 471 children. This number reflects hundreds of face-to-face hours, hundreds. I don't know if we're at thousands yet, but we're quite a bit of work. Thousands of dollars in concrete supports and countless referrals to community resources across Cuyahoga County. We have 2 new team members that joined us this year, and we're excited for what they're going to do. So we have one new coach, Deanna Wave. Okay, and Jean Sharkey is our new part-time program assistant. Okay, Jean, wave. So we want to welcome them as we continue our work. We have, again, I cannot say how proud I am of my coaches and our team. We have worked tirelessly to make sure that we are servicing Cuyahoga County families from a place of sincerity. And I'm going back to the chat to seeing all the things that we are doing to take care of ourselves. I love to see that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And really, that's it. The next slide is just my contact information. You guys are welcome to contact us. Contact us if you're in our area, if you would like to talk. That's our little QR code to our programs page. And if are there any questions, or because I think we have a little time. We were speeding, I see. I'm not sure if.
Don't see any questions.
Okay.
We'll give it maybe just another 30 seconds. You can also go off mute if anybody wants to ask a question as well, or type something in the chat.
Is there a limit to the amount of time that you can spend with each client in a certain month or quarter? And is there a requirement to complete tasks? I know you said like they should let go of the outcome, but funding and things like that are usually attached to these outcomes. And so how do you handle that with your coaches?
Yeah, so there is no limit. There is no maximum or minimum as to, well, we have to at least see our families at least one time a month. Oftentimes it's more than that. But no, there is no limit. The point is to be there for our families. So sometimes our coaches might spend a couple of hours with a family because of the requirement that's needed for whatever the family is presenting with at that moment. And I believe your other question was, I'm so sorry, Lene, there was no limit. And what was the second part? I apologize.
Now you're going to get me to lying about if I remember what my question was. Sorry.
Well, no. Okay. Yeah. So our job is just to meet families. Our job is to meet families where they are. That is, and so we, like Adrian mentioned, sometimes the challenge is closing cases just because our families don't want to leave us, but we're working through that. But I truly apologize. I don't remember the second part of the.
I think I do.
Okay.
I think she was asking about meeting requirements because usually she said funding is attached to having a certain amount of closed cases and if they're meeting those deadlines and things like that.
Yeah, so no, our funding is not tied to outcomes. Like our funding is tied to the work that we do. And so because we're in the prevention space, and maybe the trust fund can speak a little more to this, but our results are being studied. So no, like the point is to help families where they are with the hopes of stabilizing a family, helping a family move on with their lives, however that may look for each particular family. So no, and so when we say release the outcome, we understand that we're very different than, say, a children and family services. You guys are a regulatory entity that has to do things. So that's different. Our job is not, it's not like that. We are truly in the prevention space. I hope that answers that. And thank you, Elena. I appreciate
No problem.
it. Okay. Is there any other questions?
Well, we just want to say thank you so much for all of the work that you do. And it's always great to hear the stories about how you're affecting and impacting families. I took notes around PTO dance party. We need to be doing that at the trust fund as well. And then I think, we obviously all care about the work that we're doing for families, but I think being cognizant of self-care, taking home, release the outcome for us. There's a lot of takeaways that we all need to make sure that we're taking to heart, especially during Child Abuse Prevention Month, but then thinking about the work that we do year round. So thank you so much. And thank you for letting us, share the great work that you all are doing. And I always say it wrong, Cuyahoga County, with the rest of the states. And I probably butchered that again, but we appreciate you. And then thank you everyone for joining us. Please register for upcoming webinars on our website. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.